Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Band Up Variety channel. Today's video we're going to be doing is showcasing the new weapons that I have in the next two videos. So this first video is going to be this first weapon that I have, and then the next video after that is going to be this next weapon that I have. So we haven't uploaded in a while, so this is what I'm going to be starting that off with. And on the wall, I have a weapon, a Red Ryder BB gun that I got up at my uncle's one time on a hunting trip, and I found it in his dirty basement, his wrecked basement. And so, not a wrecked basement, but a basement with a lot of junk in it. And while I was looking around down there on a previous hunting trip, and I found that I just got back from, and I found these two toy guns. I found actually a third, but they weren't sure about me taking that, so I just left that. And I was able to get this off of them, and I have these guns now, and so what we're going to be doing is showcasing this. And so this here is our first gun, this double-barrel toy shotgun. I have seen this before, I believe, at a friend's house. I believe I was really young, but I don't know what company makes this gun, but the name that I've come up with for it is the Stevenson Arms Company, which was another prominent gunsmithing arms manufacturer during the war against the Buckethead Empire, and this is a prominent gun from their company. It's just the Stevenson 2022 16. The 16 stands for 16 gauge, which is the caliber of the gun. So it is a shotgun. And this is what, and you're probably thinking that's a little weird that you're this old and you're still playing with toy guns, but these do work the best for my fights that I have in the basement. Speaking of fights that I have in this basement, I have some editing software. I've acquired some that allows me to take clips and snap them together to make my battles more smooth. So to eliminate all that hassle of taking hats off. And the worst thing is some of the episodes of Resistance Story, I'm taking all these crazy cloths and putting on all this crap and things, all while the video is still playing and you're watching all that annoying, boring stuff. I can cut all that out and make it smoother. So that may mean bringing back Resistance Story, or I might just do the fights of the prominent battles in the war. I don't know, but either way, fights will be enhanced with this new technology from now on. And we will see cutting at the end of the video where I fight enemies using this weapon. So, with that being said, we're going to fire this weapon. The main caliber is 16 gauge, and I got those empty 16 gauge shells from, or 16 gauge shells from my uncle's, since he has 16 gauge shotgun, and I was shooting them, and I got a couple of those to use in this weapon. I believe these are the shells that it takes when you get the gun, but they don't have any of the shells, so luckily I have the shells for it. I only have one of these, so I will not be using this too often. It may make it a special shell, and this is actually an 18 gauge gun, an 18 gauge shell, and this is not, 18 gauge is not a caliber that exists in today's world, but it did exist during the time of the futuristic fight against the Buckethead Empire. So this was not a very common shell. It was more of an experimental shell that they used. So this gun did revert back to 16 gauge, but it does shoot this one 18 gauge. I do only have one example, and it does have hammers on it. You're probably wondering, well, why does a futuristic double barrel have hammers on it? It should be hammerless. As a matter of fact, they shouldn't even be using double barrels. And while part of this reason is that the Bucketheads destroyed the world's trade, so they had to start over again, making muskets and eventually working their way back up to what the guns were before, when they were fighting the Buckethead Empire. So that's, double barrels were a very prominent shotgun. They were cheap to make, some of them. And while these shells during this futuristic time period are way more powerful, the bullets come out of here, I believe they come out at like 240 FPS in a real shotgun shell, in a regular shotgun shell today. Well, these are coming out at about 5,000 FPS roughly. So there's a lot more jerk to this gun when it's going off, but the damage output is 3,000 times more than a regular shotgun, And so basically it needs these hammers to give it that extra punch to get it going. Because if they were hammerless, what has been observed is that the firing pins just aren't powerful enough to get that shell to get the explosion powerful enough to blow those BBs or that slug or whatever out of there fast enough. So that is the reason why hammers are on a lot of guns during this time period. So we're going to pull this hammer back, and then we're just going to give this a shot. I'm just going to have my hearing protection on. It's an 18 gauge shell here. So that is that. There was a spring system in here, and it worked when you shot those shells, but since I only had one, I needed something different. When I put 16 gauge shells in here, the spring kept spitting them out before I could get them in there. There's also 2 little pieces in here that I took out that kept the shells from moving out of the gun. Well, since these are a different type of shell, they slide back behind those things, and then you can't get them back out. So I took those things out. And 12 gauge does not fit in here because it opens this barrel up and then it gets stuck in there and you shut the breech. I don't know about you, but when I'm getting shot at, I don't want to be trying to stick a pick or a knife in there to get my 12 gauge shells out when I could just dump 16 gauge out. So, without further ado here, this gun just shoots regular shotgun. Some of these have slugs behind them. I'm not going to be using those today. This is just regular pellets spread. So we're going to pull our hammers back here, and we're ready to fire. So this thing has a little snap to it when she goes off. A lot of butt crack on this thing. And so let me pick up those casings. So that is that, and we're going to give it off another shot here. Just for hoots and giggles. Not shooting at anything in particular. I just want to shoot some areas of the wall that haven't been touched yet. And then, just for the fun of it, we'll just put off another 2 rounds. So, opportunity to be a very excellent gun. It was covered in a lot of dust, but it has had some TLC, or tender loving care, since that trip back to here where it has received that. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to exercise the video software, the use of the video software to produce a good fight scene. So we're going to have 5 clones of cloth men, members of a gang. They wear white cloths on their head. They call cloths. They call themselves the cloths. We're just going to call them cloth men. We have 4 infantrymen and an officer coming to get us. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to take them out with this. And so I will cut back and forth to make the fight seem a lot more smoother. All right, once again, just clones that we're shooting at today. All right. So, looks like they're coming in the distance there. They do have a very short vision span, so they will have to get a little bit closer before they start shooting at me. They do not have very good aim. All right, we have one closing in on us here. They are pretty dumb because they have their intelligence not that good, so when they're closing in on positions, they just walk up and give you a good chance to shoot at them. Very important with these low ammo capacity shotguns that we reload whenever we have the chance if we only shoot 1 shell. Missed. We have the other two coming up on us here. Okay, we have a slug here. This is going to be a tough shot. We're going to take out the officer first, because we do not know what capabilities that he may have when he gets into close combat. Be a tough shot here. Alright, he's flanking around. We'll load an 18 gauge shell. Alright, that was a bit of a long shot for that, but luckily that was a slug. I ran out of 16 gauge. Stupid me, didn't pack enough, so had to use that. We can kind of see how chaotic that gets with 5 cloth men that are clones. So just imagine when we have real people that are going to be shooting at each other in this basement. So it is going to be, we can obviously get a glimpse of what it's going to be like. I do not think I'm going to be making the video for this other weapon tonight, because it is kind of late right now. But what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to import the clips following the main chunk of video at the beginning of me explaining. I'm going to snap that all together and make a final video in which it's going to be about this weapon. So anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. Please do like, subscribe, as it helps out the Band Board Variety channel, and stay tuned for anything else that I do. Or maybe moving back into gaming, seeing what I'm doing with Gun Showcase as soon as I get time to do all of these things. Anyway, guys, this will be it for today's video.